Welcome to the Rise Up podcast, where we explore the stories of business leaders rising above challenges and driving innovation. And super pumped to have with us here at the Wonder Tree Studio, Tony Phelps, the CVO of Accurate Air Solutions, Chief Visionary Officer.
That's it. Yes, sir.
I love that.
Yeah. I'm definitely glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, good to have you. Well, I love to let's just start right there. CVO. Was that always your title, or did that come about through some interactions with someone else and that's who I am right there?
Yeah, no, that definitely came through some book reading. The last 12 months I've got into book reading a lot. I don't read them. I listen to them on Audible. But yeah, there's definitely a book out there that talks about a visionary at a company and how they can clog up the day-to-day operations, cause whiplash in the day-to-day operations. I'm extremely good at that.
Yes.
So after reading that book, I understand there's a spot for a guy like me, but it's not in the normal org chart with the day-to-day. So I definitely have a big vision, and then I have an integrator on my side that puts all my visions into place. So yeah, we like to say I'm the visionary of the company.
And we could just dive into the deep end there. That's so good. I share a lot of visionary capacity, immense vision.
Yeah.
But the details, the integrations, the integrator, as you described, is so key.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You have to have it, because the visionary, we get wild sometimes.
Yeah, that's right.
And the integrator gets locked in, holds himself accountable, or herself if it's a female. But you can't have one without the other.
No, you can't.
You can be both, but I don't want to be both.
No, there's a limitation to it. There's a ceiling to your capacity, your bandwidth, et cetera, to be able to execute on vision plus integration.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, it's two different roles for sure.
Well, good. Well, welcome. I love to kind of dive into the stories and journeys and Accurate Air Solutions. Was it always Accurate Air Solutions, or did that come about?
No, that was the day I decided to quit the company I was working for was the day I decided my company name.
Nice.
There was zero strategy involved in any of it.
Yeah.
But
you wanted to be accurate.
I wanted to be accurate. And I love the word solutions. It just added something. So I was like, all right, Accurate Air Solutions, because when I first opened, it was just air conditioning.
Yep.
But it's been Accurate Air since day one, but it wasn't Accurate Air until day one. There was no strategy behind it.
So take me back. How many years ago was that?
That was in April of 2013. I quit my job, and it took me till June to get Accurate Air open, but I did all that after I quit my job, April of 2013.
Okay, so I got to back up a second, because I think there are always people watching and listening that is on the other side of that. We'll call it the pre-side of it. They're working as an employee for someone, and they're beginning to think, or else they get kicked to the curb, right? Yeah. They have to jump off and start flying, so to speak. What was your journey like? You worked for someone.
Yeah.
Was there this vision that was always there? Did it happen?
No.
Kind of.
It was, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
This.
Yeah, so I got in the industry right around 2000. And from 2000 to 2013, I worked for 3 of the bigger companies in Abilene, Texas. That's where my headquarters is. And they were great companies, but I felt I learned more of what I shouldn't do there.
Sure.
So it's weird, man. It was literally one day at work at the last place I worked at in 2013. I was like, this just isn't for me.
Yep.
And maybe I'm the problem, but before I decide I'm the problem, I'm going to go try this for myself. So I had worked at 3 places over 13 years, done a little bit of everything at all 3 of them. So I literally had my boss take me home one day from work. I had a backpack of tools, and I got home and told the wife, hey, we're going to open up our own business. She stayed at home with all the kids and did that. And then we came up with the business name. I opened the LLC a week after I quit my job. 2 weeks after I quit my job, I went and took my contractor's license test. I didn't pass part of it the first time. And I was like, maybe I was the problem.
Yeah.
And then the following week, I passed the test. And then I don't have a lot of business background, so it took me about 3 more weeks just to get in with the state, get my insurance.
Yep.
So once I quit in April, about the first week of June, I was finally legally documented everywhere, ready to rock and roll. And I didn't even have a truck, though, so I had to borrow a truck from my wife's dad. There was zero strategy in what I did. It was a big move, but it turned out okay.
Well, and I think this is so fascinating because I think a lot of people, there's immense fear, and it's valid. It's
For
valid.
sure.
I've got some level of certainty, although we could argue how certain is your job that's working for someone. It may be really certain, but the truth is you can't control it.
Exactly.
And there's certainly a lot of uncontrollable variables when you launch your own business.
For sure.
But you said this off air when we were talking. You knew you could work hard.
Yes. Yeah, I had that down. That's easy.
And so, you can't solve everything with hard work, but oh my goodness, you can wake up and be willing to tackle the challenges that you don't know how to solve just by getting after it. So I'm curious, let's talk about sales from a sales standpoint. New business, you've got your name. How do you go about in your first 30, 60, 90, 120 days to get sales, bring revenue into the door, cash in the door, and prove this concept out?
I'm still learning that. I was super blessed in the beginning where I had a big commercial customer somewhat promised me if I ever opened my own shop, they would use me.
Yeah.
So I took a lot of faith in that statement and they stood behind that statement. And to be super transparent, I'm just now learning sales and marketing. I've got everywhere I've got so far just off of my team's hard work and, just going around talking to people. So we're implementing sales and marketing heavy right now. But in the beginning, it was really that one customer that promised me they would use me and they came through. And then that trickled on to just being in the industry for 12 years, working on everything I worked on definitely helped. I had a lot of connections at hospitals and things like that. And then really where I was super blessed was once I proved concept and I stayed in business for 3-4 months, some of the bigger hospitals were like, okay, Tony might make it. And then so by October or November of 2013, a couple of the hospitals called and were like, hey, you're still in business? And I was like, well, yeah, I'm still in business. And they were like, all right, come start working here. And then it was just a tumble. It just never stopped after that.
And what you're saying, I'm going to put some other language around it. And that is, I'm convinced, and I've been using this more and more, that as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, I can go run out for a lot of sales and customer acquisition, this and that, and nothing against it. But honestly, I think the core is we're in the relationship business. We're in the trust building business. And I think a lot of people just want to kind of run after this or that and kind of miss that really vital ingredient of
they do.
It's that relationship and that trust that it may be the most important thing, maybe more important than the actual service I'm providing them.
Yes. Yeah. No, and especially just show up. That's like half the battle in life. But one thing I feel we're extremely good at is we show up when a lot of people would not want to show up because maybe we messed up or something else messed up. But we take a lot of pride in our accomplishments, but we hold ourselves extremely accountable when it goes south.
That's right.
And when people see you showing back up, even when you're in the mud, it's that right there is such a great thing for customers to be like, all right, we know we can trust that company. Now, are they going to mess up? Yeah, everybody messes up, but they're the people we want messing up because we know they're going to take ownership of it and fix it.
That is so good, Tony. I think so many people are fearful when the mess up happens because you said it, it will happen. It is impossible to be a living, breathing human being in business and not just unintentionally something goes wrong.
Something goes wrong. Yeah.
And even your customers understand that. Yeah, they'd love a perfect relationship, but they know that's not realistic.
Right. Yeah. They know it's
and
not.
So it's in the acknowledgement, the accountability, the transparency of, okay, we're gonna take care of this.
Yeah.
And there's so much fear that business owners have in owning that. They look at like, I'm gonna lose 1,000, 2,000, whatever the amount is. Yeah. It's like that just almost paralyzes them from taking the right action.
It does. Yeah. No, you can't. I live by this one, not this only one rule, but we don't ever let anybody's budget or schedule affect our quality.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We're always going to stand behind our work. Even when it's bad or good, we're going to stand behind it and make it better. Or if it's good, we did a good job and we'll go the next one. But accountability is a big thing.
Well, and you said just show up. So you'd mentioned just show up, and you've probably had this conversation many times with your team, but it's just shocking to me, Tony, how low the barrier to providing what is not out there. Showing up, just communicating, answer the phone, and provide good service.
Exactly.
How few that happens now with contractors.
No, it's good and bad, It's good when you got to compete with them, but it's bad when people compare you to them.
Yes.
So it's like, whatever, we're a part of that organization or that ecosystem, but we show up.
Yep.
We show up, we answer the phone, all that good stuff.
So 2013, you make a leap.
Yeah.
You begin to kind of dive into it. And as you kind of mentioned, as some traction and word of mouth and people start saying, hey, Tony's still here. He hasn't closed his doors yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of walk me through what was the next kind of evolution of Accurate Air Solutions? I mean, did you kind of stay locked into Abilene, to the services you're providing? Or at what point did you, as a visionary, start seeing more than just Abilene and where you started?
Yeah, it was probably into 2014 sometime. I hired my first employee at the beginning of 2014. And then I think the first big thing was we was probably 5 or 6 years in, and we decided to add electrical in, because we would get to hospitals or schools, and they always seem to call the HVAC guy first, whether it's a water leak or the breakers tripping. So we were sending so many customers off to like call an electrician or call a plumber. We couldn't fix that. So I think in 2016 or 17, we brought electrical in. That was super huge for us. And maybe a year before that, I was more service in the beginning. So about 2015, we started doing some big construction and install jobs. That definitely opened my eyes and was like, all right, there's a lot more here than just service, and there's definitely a need for it. So I would say ever since late 2015, early 2016, we're always trying to raise the bar on what we do. We don't really focus on what other people in our industry are doing, because we feel we've done things they haven't. So we kind of focus on our stuff and our clients. But yeah, we try to raise the bar every year from our standards. Like, what did we do last year? Well, we want to do better than that this year.
You and I have talked kind of offline a little bit that you got connected into and now kind of heavily invested in, and I'll let you describe it, Cardone Ventures, 10X expansion. Kind of tell me, how did you get introduced to this? And then kind of describe what that is and what that has shifted in your own visionary leadership.
Yeah, this part might go long, but I think right after COVID, so late 2020, my company started getting phone calls from private equity a lot. And some of them were sounding good, and I turned them down for like a year. But then sometime late 2021, I started entertaining some of the private equity calls. And 2 or 3 of them, I got real deep in, the offer letters and the LOIs. And I actually thought I was going to sell my company once for like $18 million. And I thought this was the greatest thing ever. And then during the due diligence process, one company just backed out, and they were like, you're not worth 18 million. We're out of here. And one company was like, all right, you could be, so we're going to stick around. And they were actually pretty nice to me, but they showed me how we wasn't even worth 10 million. They was like, you're not going to get 18. So that was super frustrating. Not that 9 million is not a lot of money, but it's not 18 million.
Well, that's right.
So I was like, all right, something's wrong here, and I need to find out what's wrong. So after I just told all the private equity firms, look, I'm not selling out. I gotta find out why you thought I was worth this, but then found out I was worth this. So I used another company. I don't even remember their name now, but they definitely helped us out a little bit. And then in late 2014, I was on social media, of course, and Brandon Dawson is my mentor. That's who I listen to a lot. But I seen one of his little short reels that at the end, he was like, I'm the alternative to private equity. And I was like, all right, what does that even mean? Right. So first time I'd ever been to any style of event, I went to one of Brandon's events, and I was in there about 10 minutes, and I was like, all right, this guy, he's either been following me around for 5 years, or he actually knows what he's talking about, because he explained, why you might be worth this in the beginning, and then when you get in your books. So he really opened my eyes on how dirty my books were, and they were extremely dirty. The top number was right, and the bottom number was probably right, but the numbers in between are really the important numbers. So in late 2014, we started getting in heavy with Brandon and the Cardone Ventures team out of Scottsdale, Arizona. So they helped us break our books down to, at minimum, kind of show us the spots we were bleeding a lot of money. And then now we're so heavily in with those guys, but they help us out almost every day on just keeping our books clean, projecting for what's coming, strategizing, all that. So again, I got hooked up with them because I thought private equity was going to buy me out, and it didn't work. And then now after hooking up with them, we feel we've learned enough about business to where we're going to try to turn into private equity ourselves and go out and take over Texas in the beginning.
And up to that point, had you done a lot of merger and acquisition, or did that kind of come after you kind of got involved with Cardone Ventures and Brandon and their team?
I did 2 or 3 little ones before Cardone Ventures. Just literally little ones, wrote on a napkin maybe. And we had a lawyer sign, but they were pretty cheesy. And then actually after getting teamed up with Brandon and them helping my business, I was in Scottsdale one day and I heard they actually had a business acquisition club you could join.
Interesting.
And I was like, okay, this sounds super exciting. So I got with them, joined the club, and I've done 2 acquisitions since joining that club. One of them I was already in the beginning conversations with, but they've definitely helped guide me through that. And then now we have monthly calls. We go to Scottsdale once a month and just meet up with 50 or 60 other M&A minded people.
Just expands the mind, doesn't it?
It expands the mind, and they give us so much strategy on what to look for so you can pre-qualify. Like we were talking about off air. You know, if you buy a company, you shouldn't question if the revenue is going to be there, because you should pre-qualify them and determine that before you try to buy them. And all of that strategy definitely came from Brandon and his team, without doubt.
So I'm going to put you on the spot just slightly. I'm going to create a theoretical company.
All right.
And I want you to tell our audience there's a lot of different ways that you can buy a company.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Million. There's
pull your gold bullions out of the safe.
Exactly.
Hand it to the guy. But I want you to kind of hit maybe the highlights. So let's imagine that we've got a business, and again, just kind of really theoretical. They're doing top line gross of, let's just say $1 million a year, about $80,000 a month. Right. And then they've got a 10% margin. Right. So they netted right at about $100,000 on the year.
Okay.
Right? A lot more detail around there.
Yep.
Number one, in the service-based industry, is there a range of valuation that businesses like that probably are worth, or a range of what that could be worth?
Yeah. I mean, it always changes. You know, as crazy as it sounds, interest rates change that a lot, because most of your private equities, I mean, some are buying it with liquid, but most everybody's financing it.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. So interest rates are a heavy burden on that. And then there's a lot of factors that go into it, right? So if you're making $1 million in revenue, my first question is going to be, how many employees do you have?
Yeah.
If you have 8 or 9, in my industry, I'm probably not interested if 8 or 9 people have to generate $1 million. So there's lots of different things you look
inside of that. That's right.
But let's just say you had $1 million company doing a 10% net. You had 3 employees. You had 2 out in the field, 1 in the office, killing it. In today's market, I don't know. I would try to get it at a 1X, but there'd probably be some people out there that if that's the business they were looking for, you could probably get a 3 or 4X of that 100,000 possibly. You know, if you have all the right stuff in line, if you have repeat customers, that's like we were talking offline, that's so huge.
That is.
A company that doesn't have repeat sales but has a lot of sales, that's scary. They're eventually going to run out of sales. So if you're pre-qualified, you're doing good, $1 million in revenue, less than 4 employees, you could get a 2 or 3, maybe even a 4 multiplier if somebody wanted to be in that market, and things like that would work.
And then in terms of, you know, of course, the dollar amount you're buying, whether you're buying for a 1X at 100K, or, you know, if the revenue and the net numbers are even higher, let's say the business is worth, after all considerations, it's worth $1 million.
Yeah.
What are the top ways that you see acquisitions happen? You mentioned bank debt, you mentioned some leverage, owner carries stuff. Yeah.
The cool thing is you can buy a business any way you and the guy who owns the business agree on. That's the greatest rule of all.
On a napkin.
You can do it on a napkin. It's been done. I've seen big deals done on napkins, and I'm like, wow, did that really just happen in front of me? But yeah, no, I think most of ours we've done were lump sum payments. And then we have one acquisition that we did earlier this year that we did a lot of money up front, and then we're going to finance it out for 48 months at like 10 grand a month. Depending on
through the actual owner or through like
the owner. It was an owner finance. It was an owner finance,
which is great for the owner. He gets to walk away from the business if that's what he wants, but he's got some kind of passive income.
This was his idea in that situation, so it worked out good. And then depending on the structure of the business you're buying, you know, if they own property, you probably wouldn't want to buy that. You'd want your management firm, if you have one, to buy the property. So like me, I have a fleet management company, I have a property management company, and then I have Accurate Air.
Yeah.
So my fleet management company would buy your trucks.
Yep.
My property management would buy your property, and Accurate Air would buy
the business.
The business, that's exactly.
Right. Yep.
So that's how most of my deals work out. And then, the best deal is you could just pay them off, get it going, and rock and roll. But every scenario is different. So some guy might want to stay on for a little bit. The gentleman I did a deal with, he just wanted some revenue coming in for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
And his theory was, I don't want it all at once. And I was like, okay, it's the same amount. So I would want it all at once, but everybody's different. So again, that's the cool thing about buying a business or buying anything. There's 100 ways to buy it. It's just, you two have to agree. And then that's how it is.
That's right. That's right.
There's no wrong way to buy a business except not buying one.
That's right. And when you began to explore this, maybe with a little bit more intentionality, especially with collaborating and learning from the Cardone Venture Group, what about locations started to get your attention? I mean, you kind of mentioned Lubbock, you mentioned some other markets, but did they just come out of relationship? Did they come out of your own curiosity?
Yeah, sometimes a little bit of both. But if you're going to be super strategic, you want to do some market analysis and things like that and see who needs you in the market. I feel I understand HVAC extremely well.
Yep.
So I feel I can roll into any town and just look at the quality of the trucks running around. I can go to a parts house. If it's a big enough downtown, you can always tell a lot by a downtown, like, okay, they need some service here. But again, there's so many different ways.
Yep. I love to talk about the leadership journey that we're all on, because it's a journey.
Yes.
It's an evolving journey.
For sure.
It's a growing journey. So I always like to kind of ask, who are some key leader mentors that kind of shaped the way that you view leadership in your kind of business journey?
Yeah. To touch on that real good, until I met Brandon Dawson, I really didn't listen to anybody. You know, I thought I had it figured out. I was the cool guy around town, and really I wasn't at all, So once I started listening to Brandon, I really got into some leadership stuff. Brandon teaches a lot of leadership.
Yep.
So we're super heavy in the leadership, at Accurate Air. Kind of comically, I tell people right now, Accurate Air is actually a personal development company funded by our HVAC knowledge.
Yep.
But we get real heavy into our employees and just leadership in general. We're all trying to read leadership books. John Maxwell is he's a magician when it comes to leadership. We love him. Read a lot of his books. I try to get all my management to read his books and then tell me where they're at compared to his 5 levels of leadership. You got to have leadership, but what I tell everybody at Accurate Air, we got to have leadership, but I really want to get people to stop following me and become their own leaders.
That's right. Yes.
So, we're heavy on leadership for sure. We almost teach more leadership than we teach technical knowledge these days.
Isn't it interesting that when people begin to grasp their capacity for personal leadership, right? And certainly that can weave its way into their own households, their families,
big time.
Certainly into their marketplace where they're working. I remember, Tony, my first job out of college, right? So you don't know anything out of college. I was an accounting degree. I was great people person. And I went to work for a software company in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I graduated from. And I don't know what a corporate setting's supposed to do, do, or you're just clueless.
Yeah, exactly.
But this company had so much insight into personal leadership that in my first corporate setting, every Friday, they took 2 hours out of the day, the whole company shut down to just do that. They just trained on personal leadership, emotional intelligence, how to lead yourself, your household. And of course they knew, and the results were, we can make you a better person, a better leader. Our company's going to benefit. 100%. Your life is going to benefit.
Yes.
You've got greater mental, emotional, physical bandwidth to be productive in the market. And you're here. So
I think that's so important. You'll see a lot of contractors like me, that own businesses, and they talk about, oh man, you got to cater to the customer. You got to cater to your vendor. You got to cater to your employee. I really run Accurate Air and I cater to the employees. Like, I don't know how long it's been since I've really talked to a customer, but we talk to our employees every day. They're the ones who deal with the customers. We have at Accurate Air, we have your job description if you work for us, but we have another thing called the EMM, Employee Maturity Model. And it's basically step by step of how you can be better at your job, not really what you do. That's a job description is what you do.
Yep.
So we love leadership. We're trying to turn all 116 of our employees into leaders, not followers.
Well, and you know this indirectly and directly. You know, we're in a world where corporations, companies, business owners are trying to find, how do I retain good people?
Yes.
How do I recruit good people, keep good people? And, you know, to me, there's no greater retention recruiting tool of good people, right? You get some knuckleheads in there that just don't want to come alongside and, all right, they self-select out of it.
Exactly.
But it is so attractive when someone sees an atmosphere like that, where I want to help you grow as a person, grow as a leader.
Yeah. No, it's super cool. And that word gets around town fast. It
does. That's right.
Again, we're new to Lubbock, but if I could just go buy 4 more trucks, I got 4 people that would leave where they're at right now and come work here just because they see what we're building here.
Yes.
And it's so cool. I was talking at lunch earlier, and I have like 13 of the first 20 employees I ever hired still work for me.
That says a lot.
Yeah, it says a lot for sure. Because in this industry, it's hard to keep people, especially with AI coming. You know, most people will just go take a job for $2-3 more an hour.
Yep.
But we definitely have good employee retainage at Accurate Air. It's a good place to work. But I think that's all because I'm the type of business owner that, good or bad, I give 100% of my energy to my employees. So which that holds me accountable, because I know the customers don't even know me anymore. They only know my employees. But how accountable is that going to make me to treat my employees how they should be treated? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what type of business you run, but if you run a service-based business, the guys on the lower end of the org chart are generating everything.
That's right.
You're only doing what they provide you to do. Right. So I focus so heavy on my employees. It's definitely different than anything anybody's seen, but it works.
Well, I say this phrase a lot. It's in the fruit. The proof is in the product of your people.
Exactly.
The service experience, you know, as you kind of mentioned, customers notice it. Your teams notice it.
Yeah.
Yep. So kind of shifting a little bit to kind of forward-looking, future-looking. I love, again, Chief Visionary Officer. Yep. What is the next 2-5 years look like for you and your team and Accurate Air Solutions?
It looks wild. It looks wild.
No one has a crystal ball, but there's that's part of being a visionary. It's like, okay, here's where I see ourselves going, and here's where I want to put energy into, resources to going there.
No, we have. Thanks to Brandon Dawson and his team in Scottsdale, we actually have a 10-year roadmap of Accurate Air that almost tells you our turn-by-turn what we're going to do. We started that last year. Last year, we hit all the targets we set. So we know the roadmap. The first year of the roadmap worked. Yep. So we definitely have a 10-year roadmap of where we're going that involves a lot of M&As and things like that. But it's definitely exciting knowing we got a strategy, we have targets put in place, and then when you start hitting them targets, it's even a better feeling.
It's feedback that, okay, something's working here.
And it all goes back to strategy, right? Just I winged my whole life, and then I met Brandon, and then was like, all right, what is this strategy thing they keep talking about? But it's so important, and if you don't have it, I mean, you might make it a little bit, you might lose an arm and a leg getting there.
That's
but strategy comes into play big time. And we do. I mean, we have a big vision. The next year or two is going to be a little wild. We're doing a lot of. We're doing an ERP implementation at Accurate Air, rolling everything into one big software. But we have a plan in place. We're following that plan, and we're going to get to where we're going for sure.
No, well, again, having a strategy, understanding. I'm not going to say the end in mind, but knowing, all right, that's what we want it to look like. It won't look like that today, tomorrow.
Right.
Software implementation is pulling teeth at times, but what it allows you to bridge and get to in terms of efficiency, better accurate data, customer feedback. It's exactly. Yeah. Businesses won't be able to survive, or they're just going to,
Yeah. They're not, I mean, they might survive, but they're not going to be in a tough spot.
Yeah. So we always end our time with kind of some of our rapid fire questions.
All right.
I like to ask, what did going all in on AccuDure Solutions teach you early on? What did that teach you when you decided, all right, I'm going all in, I'm jumping?
Oh man. It taught me accountability. I think I was always accountable, but I didn't know the levels of accountability until I opened my own company. When you open your own company, there's no hiding from anything. If
you're like, here I am to the world.
Exactly.
Take a look at me.
When you're good, everybody's going to expose you because you're good and they want to do what you're doing. When you're bad, they want to expose you because you did it wrong. So just holding myself accountable on a level that I didn't even know exists was probably one of the biggest wow. Like, okay, I'm dealing with it, but it was like, okay, they didn't tell me about that.
What's the boldest decision you've made in the business? And it could be lots of them, but what stands out?
Yeah, I think the boldest decision I've made, unfortunately, I've had to make it numerous times. I haven't had to make it in the last year or two, but not letting a small bank account affect your decision making.
That's good.
When you get, like a lot of people say, I'm not afraid to go to zero. And it's easy to say that. But I'll give you an example. I hate saying this, but it is what it is. There was about a year and a half ago when I came to work on a Monday, and I did not have enough money in the bank account to make payroll. So most people probably would have been a little scared and doing all this. But Tony called the bank, bought 2 more trucks, and then flew to Scottsdale Tuesday to learn about business M&As. And then I made payroll on Friday. So not being scared, of course, you got to have the money, and I knew I had the money coming in. It just wasn't there yet. But just if the bank account's dropping, you can't just lock up and be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose. I got to stop. And especially you said it earlier, when fear sets in, that's probably when you should step out and like, all right, I'm going to do this. So my lack of fear of going to zero has helped me out more than anything ever could have. And that's, again, when you can make big moves with no money and big moves with money, I think that's a major.
Well, and we didn't say this specifically, but I do want to address it real quickly. And that is you've made some intentional decisions to invest in yourself.
Yes.
Vis-a-vis the Cardone Ventures, right? That's not cheap.
That's not
to
cheap
spend money in the organization, to spend the time that you're giving it, certainly, flying, but you've said this, what you've gotten out of that.
Yes.
Right.
The ROI on that's crazy.
And there's different areas, there's different seasons where business owners have to make that tough decision. Some of it's going to get a business coach, right?
Yes.
That's going to cost you.
If he's good.
But the right coach, what they'll return back to.
Exactly.
So investing in yourself and your business is hard because it's like, well, this isn't going to drive me new HVAC sales today. Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. But I'll give you an example on Cardone. When I first met them, I was running a low single-digit net income. And within 3 months of them just helping me clean my books, and I implemented that all of 2025, we have more than doubled our bottom number. Not changing our prices, not doing anything, just helping clean our books up. So I have given them a lot of money, but they've put a lot of money back in my pocket.
That's right.
For sure.
And hence the relationships and the value of the fruits, this is going to be part of what we're doing.
You can't even put a price on the relationships I've made.
Yeah. What do most people misunderstand about the HVAC and services industry?
Oh man,
you can talk a while about this.
Yeah, definitely. They just, I don't know. They're definitely misunderstood. I can tell you that it's not all sunshine and things like that every day. It's hard, man. People only call us when it's broke. Nobody ever says, "Hey, come check out all the cold air that's coming out of the grill,
or the hot air
that's happening right now." I think the most misunderstood thing is just the amount of urgency that's always put on, especially HVAC guys. It's like, man, this is tough, and they just think we can come over and fix it. Technology's changing things now, so I think the biggest misunderstanding is that we can just come show up and get something fixed. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes you need to maintain it, and it's just, we don't just come touch it and it's fixed at all.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things, it almost boggles my mind as I hear my furnace and HVAC system kick in every few minutes over the last few days. Right?
I bet.
Every few minutes. And I'm like thinking to myself, this machine is cycling through all of its parts, all of its pieces, all of its technology, thousands and thousands of times.
Yes.
And I'm not thinking about it at all. I'm just really happy that my house is about 68 to 70 degrees.
Yeah, exactly.
And so to your point, you obviously have to have the labor to help put that. It's remarkable what this machinery can do for us.
Yeah. It's way more than just blowing cold air or hot air out of the grill. There's a lot of science behind it. And, some people are like, it's just not blowing cold air. It's low on Freon. Like, dude, there's like 30 components in there that may not be working. Freon is probably not your problem.
I just, I'm a dummy when it comes to anything mechanical. And it's like, why is this feeling cold? And I looked at my little, mobile temper. Oh, the fan's just blowing constantly. You need to turn it to auto. Yeah, whatever. It's just something dumb like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was on me. That wasn't on anyone else. Yeah. You probably get the phone call. Oh, it's blowing cold air. Oh, man, would you turn that fan to auto?
Off. Yeah. And everybody definitely thinks their system's just low on that Freon stuff. Like that's probably not your problem, funny. But we'll check it out.
That's so good. Well, man, Tony, there's a lot of good stuff here. I think we need a follow-up conversation maybe in the months to come, because I do believe, we've talked about this off air, there's a lot of business owners that are trying to understand, how do I take advantage of this silver tsunami, this baby boomer generation that often has no exit strategy? I would like to kind of learn some more. And so maybe even if it's just a high level, I could see some value in just diving a little deeper into what that journey's looked like.
Definitely.
So, and who knows, you may get someone to pick up the phone and call you and say,
hey, you never know.
I got a shop that I'd like you to buy.
Exactly. No, I'm the guy to call. I can assure you of that.
Well, 100%. Yeah. Well, before we close, I'd like to wrap up with last question. That is, you're sitting across from your 20-something-year-old self. What's some nuggets of wisdom you're going to share?
The first thing I'm going to tell my 20-year-old self is go clean up a little bit. But after that, I think the biggest thing is don't do anything you're not going to be 100% intentional on.
Yeah.
If you can't be fully intentional, it's not worth doing. So, don't half-ass anything. You know what I'm saying? Be super intentional, and then at any time you have the chance, add strategy.
That's good.
My 20-year-old self was a highly driven person, but to get from A to B, I thought it was a straight shot, even though I would have lost 2 friends and a leg on the way. Yeah. And now, if you're intentional and you add some strategy, A to B may not be a straight shot, but you'll get there with everybody you left with, and you'll get there with all your limbs. So I think being intentional and adding strategy every chance you get that would have helped me out.
That's good. Don't be afraid to ask, because you're not going to get
you're never, hardly anybody's going to give up information. You're going to have to ask for stuff for sure.
Yeah. That's so good. Yeah. Well, tell us, how do people get in touch with you, with Accurate Air Solutions? What are some of the different, online labels or Instas? What's a good way?
Yeah, no, I'm on Facebook. I'm just Tony Phelps. We have Accurate Air Solutions LLC, has Facebook, Instagram. Yep. We have a website. I don't know if I need to give my phone number out right here, but I could do that if you want to give me a call, I think you can find me almost any way. I don't even know my Instagram tag. It might be Tony Phelps 77, maybe. I'm not for sure. But if you see us around town, you can call the office. We have an 888 number. We have a number in every town we're in. Yep. So we shouldn't be too hard to get a hold of, I wouldn't think. But I'll learn all of our tags before next meeting.
That's right. Well, Tony, man, thank you. This has been a lot of fun. Hearing the journey and a lot of the lessons learned along the way. You got all your limbs, so you're doing something right. I got all my
limbs. Yeah.
That's
doing
right.
Something right.
Awesome. Well, man, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
To all of you out there, if you're interested in some more, if you've got maybe a business that you're looking to maybe sell, Accurate Air Solutions, Tony's team, can maybe give you some tips or maybe dive into it.
Yeah, definitely.
But for everyone else here at Rise, thanks so much for joining us. Our website, our Insta handles are Get Rise Energy. We kind of touch a lot of stuff in the energy space. And until then, make it a great day. Thank you.